welcome back to my channel. And on Friday's video, I got a little bit carried away with myself and it turned into quite a long video. And I had mentioned that I wanted to do a little bit of a quick tutorial to make these fun little notepads that are great DIY gifts. And I make one for my mom every year, my sister from another mister. This year I'm making for her dad and for a couple of my fun scrappy friends that I want to send this to. I know a lot of the young people today probably just keep notes on their phone and don't do paper, but us paper lovers, I think we still love paper. And my mom actually loves to put this on her fridge. So all I do is I get they're Post-it notes, but in sort of like a note-lined note form. Mine are the Staples brand, and they're basically 4x6. They're basically 4x6 pads, and I get them in, packs of about 5 or 6, and they're quite, if you go for just the house brand or whatever, they're quite inexpensive. And then I just make a little bit of a cover for them. I glue the notepad to the back of some cardstock here, decorate a little bit the front so that they're kind of cute, which I'll get back to in a minute. And for my local people, they're great stocking stuffers and stuff. So for the local people, I just went, I think I got this at the dollar store or maybe at Walmart. It's like a magnetic sheet. It's like the magnetic sheets, but in a strip form. So I just peel a piece of this off, glue it to the back, and lo and behold, it can be put on the fridge, which is what my mom does, and my sister from another mister does. Just puts this on the fridge, and there you go. You have your notes. It could be just on a nice scrappy desk as well. I have one on my main table, sort of like in the living room or on my scrappy space where I tend to put some little notes for myself. So they are 4x6. So what I do is the cardstock, the back cardstock that I do, I cut at 4. So I do the width at 4 1/8, just so there's a little tiny overhang. You can see here, just the smallest of overhangs, because I tried them at 4 1/4, and I felt it really stuck out a little bit too much. And I do the length at 6 7/8. So 6 7/8. And then I come in here and I do the first cut just a touch over the 6. So just one notch over from the 6. One notch over from the 6. There you go. So you see, just do that and then fold it here. And then I do one more up here at the 6 1/2, at the 6 1/2 sort of placement. So there you go. So you just do 2 little folds. So there we go. And there we go. So I can put that aside for now, and that's pretty much all the folding we need to do for this project. And then you see you have this little flap. You see how cute that is? And your notepad rests right in there. There you go. So you see, you just need to center it and glue it down. Now, you could probably make it, I'm thinking you could probably make it 7 inches, because it would just be a little bit more of an overhang. You could probably do 7 inches, but this is not so bad at all. So, and then all you do is you just glue it to the back of this cardstock. So you have the overhang here. And what we do with this overhang is then I take a piece of, again, 4 1/8, but this time just the 6 inches. So 4 1/8 by 6. And then I use some scraps that might be on my desk, and I use one that's about 4 inches, one that's about 4 inches, and one that's maybe a little over 2. Let's see, what's it? You see, this one is 2.5, and this one is exactly 4. And I take this back cardstock and I simply glue this down and then glue this down so that it covers this cardstock. So you see here I had just a piece of the poppy braid, the red cardstock. I glued my 2 little bits down so that you have it here. And then just so that it's sort of a little bit more finished or something, I use this punch. This is a punch I have from Stampin' Up. You could use any kind of little sort of border punch or strip punch or anything like that that does a cute little border that you could put across, and that's what I do here. So you see I just put that across here. So let's get some glue out. Now you see here I don't quite like the end part here, so I'm just going to put this along here as opposed to on the border itself, so it goes right to the end. Then glue my little part, and then you see here I have some dots or stuff, so I just try to line it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Cut off my little bits. Do that from the back, so make sure that I'm a little straighter. There we go. That came off, and there you go. So you see you have a fun little flap to put on the top. And then when I glue it to the top here, when I'm about to glue it to the top here, I'm going to use liquid glue so that I have a little bit of a chance to make sure, you know, I line it up properly. So I'm going to use wet glue here, and I'm just going to put the teeniest little strip. Let's see, am I doing this right? The teeniest little strip here. It really doesn't need much because this glue is quite strong. You could use red line tape as well, but I find red line tape is a little bit less forgiving. So if you don't quite get it down right, it's very hard to pick back up again. And basic runners are not quite strong enough. So I prefer to use, liquid glue. And then you see, excuse me, my head might be getting in the way. I hope not. And then get it here. So that's lined up at the bottom. See, and it being liquid glue, it's a little bit more forgiving, so you have some time, you sort of have some time here to adjust if need be. And that's sort of the basic part of it. So there you go. And if it's local, you put the little magnet. If you want to mail it, you don't. But then I sort of like decorating the front a little bit, and there's all sorts of different ways that you could decorate the front. So you see on this one here that I've already done, I just used a star punch on the background, and then I have this fun little stamp set that I got way back when Project Life was collaborating. I think it was Project Life was collaborating with Stampin' Up, and they did This Is the Life. It's a small little photopolymer stamp set, and it's got this fun notes on it, which fits perfectly in a 1-inch punch. So on this one, I just stamped this stamp here, notes, in the same red as I have here. That's a 1-inch circle, used a 1-inch circle, then just that little next size up, maybe, I don't know if it's 1 1/8 or 1 1/4, scalloped punch in the red. Put this up on foam and put that right in the middle, just to do a little bit of decoration. Notes. So it just says exactly what it is. Now on this one, you could do exactly the same thing. And I have this little bag. I have this little bag full of little shapes and stuff that I have already punched out. So you see, you could put a little Christmas flower here. You could put, this is just, I punched this out from a piece of pattern paper. You could put this cute little wreath here. And then if you put that cute little wreath, you could just maybe use, in a red coordinating color, you could use an N right here in the middle for notes. And then it makes it flatter. You don't need to pop anything up, or you could. Makes it flatter here, like, you know, that you could send in the mail. Or if you're making it for someone, which I think I'm going to do on this one, you could use a flat little letter sticker, or these Happy Life puppy stickers maybe. And I wouldn't use the white though with this particular one, and put the person's initial. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to put the person's initial that I'm sending this to. I am going to use this. I think I'm gonna pop it up. I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to use a red letter in the middle with the person's initials. So there you go. So that is a fun, it's a quick little gift. Once you've figured out the measurements, you can do all sorts of pre-cutting. It's a great way to use up scraps, which is why I wanted to do it for the Freeze Gang on Friday, but I just ran out of time. So in summary, 2 pieces of cardstock, the width at 4 1/8. The back piece here, you do at 6 7/8, or maybe even 7. Then you can give yourself your proper folds. The top piece at 6, or, you know, I think you could do 6 1/8. Actually, I think I might do 6 1/8. This one might have been 6 1/8. Then your scraps of pattern paper, roughly 4 inches and 2.5. Now, I mean, if you have a little bit of a smaller scrap and there's the tiniest little gap between these 2 papers, you know, that's what this border is for. It will hide it perfectly. So you don't have to worry too much if you're missing 1/8 of an inch here, or 1/8 of an inch there, or even, you know, 1/4 of an inch here, because these overlapped quite a bit. Let's see here how much they overlap. Yeah, you see, they overlap almost 1/2 inch. So you have a little bit, I'm sorry, my fridge is very loud sometimes. I don't know what that noise is. It does every once in a while. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So there is a fun little present that you can make for a stocking stuffer, or that you can send in the mail. And the size is not so bad. So it fits, you know, pretty much in one of those little padded envelopes, the smaller size, so you can send them without it costing you, you know, an arm and a leg, even if you're sending to the States or to Europe. So that's that. Then the other little fun present sort of that I wanted to show you today, I would do, this is really for scrapbookers, or, I mean, you could use this kind of thing, I guess, for a gift card, but you would make it probably a little bit more narrow and shorter. So this would be a fun gift card holder, now that I think of it. My original idea was to make it for friends that do December Daily, or to be added to a layout or to a pocket page, where it's just this fun little pocket with a tag in it where I've punched currently, and then the currently can be whatever you would like it to be. If it's in a December Daily or a December Documented, you could put, you know, the movie you watched that day, talk a little bit about the shopping you did that day, the baking you did that day. You could put a little bit of hidden journaling if you need to here, and then slip it on a page or in a pocket, or even in a lovely glassine bag if you wanted to. I think they're quite fun. But now that I think of it, you make it a little bit narrower, a little bit shorter, and you've got a great gift card holder that you would put this way instead, and then decorate a little bit in the front, probably the same way we did before, maybe with just a fun star and the person's initial. So all I do for this one, so I have, again, it's a scrap, and I like double-sided paper when I do this. So my width, so I do it here. This is 6.5, basically 6.5 by 5, a little bit more than 5.5. I would say probably 5 5/8. So 6.5, or a little bit more than 6.5 by 5 and a little bit more than a half. So you then have your square piece of paper, and you see what you do here is you score this right on the longer side. You score it right at 5 inches, because our finished product here is 5 inches. So all the way down at 5 inches. Then on this side, we do a score at 1/2, because we have here 6.5, remember? So we score at 1/2 and at 3. So you have a score line at 3, because our finished measurement here is 3 by 5. So 3 inches wide by 5. So here we score at 1 inch, with I'm sorry, 1/2 inch, which is why we did the length at 6.5, 1/2 inch, and at 3. And then on the bottom, we just do 1 score line down the 5-inch line. And then what you do is you just take your scissors, and right here in the middle part, so you have your 1/2 inch here on your left-hand side, 3 inches, 3 inches. So on this middle part here, you just take your scissors, cut, because you will have a score line here. You see, you have this score line. So you cut along the score line, and then you cut in a diagonal fashion right here up to the score line, in a diagonal fashion over on this side, right up to the corner and the score line. And then you cut away on the 5-inch part this entire length. Because then what we do, we have this 3-inch, you fold over your 3-inch part here, and you fold over your 1/2 inch piece here, and score that down. So then you fold this inside, and this 3-inch flap comes over the top, so that you have on the inside your full 3-inch length. So let's do that. This we can do with some tape runner, I think, because it's fairly easy. So just do a little bit of tape all the way along, and fold this over. There you go. So it's folded over. So you see here, you have, because you have that little flap here, you have the full 3-inch width, and then you have your lovely little flap down here at the bottom. And there you go. Now, oh, the one thing I forgot to do, before you do any of this gluing, on that middle piece where we have the flap sticking out, I just use, this is a 1 3/8 punch, and I just punch a little half circle here. So there you go. So you have this fun little pouch that you could use for all sorts of things. And they're fun. So I just do a tag. Now you see here, I did just a 2-inch one because I have a tag top. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Yeah, that could be like, you know, if you're really, really short of time and you don't want to be doing all your own cutting, because what I did here is I made this just under, see, it's about 2.5 inches, cut my own sides, used a little hole punch, then made a reinforcer using a 3/4 inch punch and a 1/4 inch punch and did my stamping. But you could also use, if you have a punch that does tag top, or if you have a die. You know what, I have the scrapbook.com, that whole set of tag dies. So I could have used those. And then here, I cut that maybe just a little bit. Let that go all the way in. Yep. There you go. And then you see, you just make yourself a little bit of a tag top, and it will fit right in there. So this is 5 inches. So you see, I had done this here at 5.5, but by using a punch, it does take a good sort of 1/4 inch off. So I would probably, if I'm going to use a punch topper, I would make this a little bit longer, because I would like it to stick out sort of about like that. So I would probably do it at 5 3/4 instead of just the 5.5. So then you see, you can just do a little bit of decorating. It doesn't need to be too much, depending on whatever the person would like to do with it. So you see here, I just assembled, you know, three fun little tags to just put here right in the middle. And then here I'm just going to put the year, so 2019. So let's do that. I'll start with this here so that we sort of have it in the middle. I wonder if I hope I'm in frame through all of this, people. I'm not very good at doing live scrapping and stuff, so I hope, anyway, I'm going to watch this. If it's terrible, you may never see it, and I'll just have to come and apologize and say, you know, that tutorial never really got it done. So 2019 that I'm putting on here. So there you go. So you see, that's kind of fun. And then the person can put this in their December daily, December documented, or as I said before, you could use this for a gift card holder. Put this little star here, or again, you know, we could do, let's see, we could do a star with maybe, now this is, you know, this is not the right color. Do I have a little red tree? You know, all of this fun stuff. Oh, I do. So you see, you could maybe just do this kind of thing, like that. Or you could use maybe one of these little flowers instead of a star. Because a star, I would say, you know, maybe put something in the middle like I did before, because this sort of then doesn't really show that it's a tree. So we could do maybe just one of these little flowers and then pop a tree up on it. Or you could do a few. See, this one is stamped. That kind of thing on it, and then put, you know, a person's initial, maybe, kind of, in which case I would probably do it with a bigger, like maybe if I had that Fitzgerald, my lovely red Fitzgerald font, I could put the initial. So there you go. So there are some fun little DIY. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them below. I really wanted to get on and do this as part of the 12 days of Christmas, but that was a monumental fail. I really only got the one video up, but I hope this is not too late. I think this will be up on my channel on Tuesday, probably Tuesday the 17th. So I hope it's not too late. If you still have a few minutes, you know, last minute little things to do, these really don't take any time at all. I hope there's still some time. Otherwise, you know, file it away for next year. But if you have any questions, I hope it was clear. Please leave them down below and tell me, for our little discussion question, do you make some little stocking stuffers or little homemade gifts of some sort? Or, you know, do you do all your gift card holders? Today we do a lot of presents which are just gift cards, and I do like to make gift card holders for all of my gift cards. So tell me, what kind of DIY do you do around Christmas time or any other time of the year for some gifts? Or do you really just prefer scrapbooking your December memories? Leave me a comment below, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.